I was born to moonshine.
Hello, we're back. We've left this in the bathroom to ferment, like you saw on the airlock. It was bubbling away and bubbling away. It's took 8 days now to finish. Now the bubbling stopped, that means fermentation's finished in this wash now. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do a few processes because we're going to try and get out all this charcoal, all this yeast, the sugar, anything that's left. We want to try and get it down to as a clear as wash as we can possibly get it. So what we're going to do, the first step we're going to do now is we're just going to do a basic siphon technique really. Now some of these buckets you can get, they do come with a little tap at the bottom. If you've got one of them, brilliant. They're dead easy to use because what will happen is all the heavy materials will stay at the bottom. Mine doesn't, unfortunately. So I'm just going to use a piece of pipe, plastic pipe, again from any homebrew shop, from a pet store, because you can use them for fishing, you know, for the filters for fish tanks and things like that. Any hardware store will have them, just a piece of plastic pipe really. So what we're going to do is we're going to siphon this off, and basically what we want to do is we want to take out all this fluid, but we don't want to suck up the bottom because the bottom inch, and this is going to have all the sludge, all the black, the sugar, the yeast and anything else, the heavy materials that are settled to the bottom. We're going to leave them in there. So I put this pipe in, it's sat around about here about now, but eventually as this liquid starts to raise to the bottom, go into this bucket below me, which is just down here. Okay, that's it now. We're just going to leave this to siphon away now. It'll take about 5 to 6 minutes. Just remember not to suck up the bottom, so do stay with it. Let it do its business, but just make sure it doesn't suck up the bottom. To be honest, in the tube you'll be able to see any solid particles going through. It should be like a blacky grey, dishwater coloured. That's fine. Just as long as it's not the black stuff at the bottom, you're okay to go. So we're just going to leave this now for 5 minutes, and then we'll go for the next process after that. Right, we're nearly at the bottom now, so what I'm doing is I'm just watching it close to the bottom. I want to try and get as much as the fluid as I can get into my bucket below. But again, I don't want to suck up anything from the bottom. So it's that balancing act really, not to suck up any sediment. So just keep your eye on the pipe really, you'll be able to see things going in. But at the same time, just keeping it close to the bottom to get as much fluid as you can, because at the end of the day, the fluid is your product. That's what you're going to make your vodka out of. That's your moonshine. It would be a lot easier if it did have a tap on the bottom. Okay, so we've siphoned as much as we can. So what I'll do, I'll let you have a look in this bucket so you can see what the sludge looks like, so then you'll know. See all that there, look? That's the sludge. So we don't want that. So basically, all that in there, we're just going to throw that away. You don't need that anymore. It's this bit we're going to concentrate on. So we're going to throw this away, and then I'll show you for the next process for this part. Right, okay, so we're outside now. Basically, like we did, we've siphoned off the first barrel into the second barrel to leave all the stuff, the crap, the stuff we don't want behind. Now in this stage we've come outside. Again, we've only come outside really because it's going to get messy. What we need to do now, we need to degas this wash. So you can stir it vigorously, but your arm's going to go numb because you really have to try and get it flat. Now my own process, what I do, I have 2 buckets like I did before, the first one and the second one. We're just going to transfer it backwards and forwards. So as soon as I pour this wash into this bucket, it's all going to froth up just like a Coca-Cola would. And then what will happen is the gas will be released, and then we'll give it a minute to cool down, then we're going to transfer it back from this bucket into the next one. We're just going to go backwards and forwards, about 10 times is enough to degas, to get all the carbon dioxide, anything left from the fermentation process will be left in this, because we need to try and get this to as flat as we can. So I'll start that now. You'll see why we've come outside now. Okay. So you go in a bit of a wave motion like that, as you can see. There we go. You can see all the foam on the top. So we're going to just let that settle, and then what we're going to do then we're going to transfer it back the other way, and we're just going to keep going like that until it's almost flat. Okay, we're back inside now. We've degassed the wash. So what we're going to do now, we're going to add this product. This is called Turbo Clear. Let you see that lot. There it is. This is another Still Spirits product. You can get this from any homebrew shop. You can get it online at stillspirits.com. Exactly the same manufacturer makes the yeast and the carbon that we've put in this. Now basically what this product does is a 2-part solution. So you've got a side A and a side B. All the instructions on the back, you can read them. But basically what you have to do, what this is going to do, this is going to separate any of the smaller particles, any of this black fluid in here. The smaller particles in here are all going to sink to the bottom. So the first part, what you have to do is what we did outside, is the degassing process. That gets all the carbon dioxide out. That's what that's done. So what we're going to do, we're going to add this solution now. We're going to add part A, which is this smaller section. Again, if you get lost, all the instructions are on the back. So what you do is you just cut the corner off, and you basically just stir in part A. It's just straight into the wash, and just get your spoon and just give it a good stir. And all this does, this just contains sulfates really, that drag the heavy material down to the bottom. It also kills any yeast cells that are left behind, because again, when you're making a vodka, especially like you're trying to get that pure vodka taste, what you don't want is any yeast cells left in this wash when you put it into the still, because what can happen is they can break open while it's boiling up, and that will also give aromas and tastes, things you don't want in a vodka. In a whiskey, yes, you do want them, but in this particular wash we're making today, you don't. So you just add part A, and you just basically stir that in so it's well mixed up, and then all you're going to have to do is leave this for an hour then. Just let that work its magic. It's going to kill anything that's left in there, any sugars, any yeast, and let them sink to the bottom. And then what we'll do, we'll come back in an hour, we'll add part B, and then we're just going to leave this to settle. So, okay, I reckon that's all in there nice. Right, we're going to leave that for an hour, and then we'll come back in an hour, and then we'll add part B, and then we'll go from there. Okay, it's been an hour now. So what we're going to do, we're going to add part B. Now when you add the second part, this part B, you don't want to be whisking this up, because obviously part A is still working. That's working its way through all the solution, separating everything. So all we're going to do now is just take off the corner, like we did with part A, but we're going to do this very slowly this time. Make sure all the liquid's fully mixed up, but just do it really steady. Nothing vigorous. Just stir this in. Okay, right, that's all stirred in now. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to put the lid back on, and we're going to put this to one side, and we're going to leave it for 24 hours. So we'll come back in 24 hours, and you're going to see a definite distinctive change, because all this black stuff is going to sink to the bottom, and this should be clear on the top. So we're going to leave this for an hour, 24 hours, and then we'll come back. Right, welcome back. It's been 24 hours now. And as you can see, the liquid's gone clear. All that fine sediment, that charcoal, that sugar and yeast, anything that's left, that's all sunk to the bottom now. And that's all down there. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do the same process we did before. You know, we left all the black sludge in the bottom. I've got my pipe in, and now we're going to siphon this out, and we're going to put it into the actual pot still now, because we're going to run this today as well. So we're going to set this going, we're going to empty this, but just remember not to suck up the stuff on the bottom, because obviously we don't want that in there. We just want this nice clear wash on the top. Right, so we're going to set that going. There we go. Right, it is best just to keep your eye on this, because like we did before, you just don't want to suck any of that stuff on the bottom. It's quite important. If you're doing a whiskey, things like that, but we'll come to them in other videos, you probably are going to want that stuff, because that's your flavour, that's your spice, that's your sharpness, your malts and your barleys and things like that. But in this vodka we're making today, in this video, we don't want that at the bottom. We just want this nice, pure, clean wash at the top. Right, so we're just going to leave that, and then we'll come back, and then what we're going to do next, in the next video, you're going to see all the still actually set up, and we're going to be ready to run, so we'll go from there. Okay. Hi, I'm the Moonshiner, and if you enjoyed today's tutorial, please press the red subscribe button below for more hints, tips and videos on everything to do with moonshine. Keep it shining. Peace!
I was born to moonshine.